It's 8 in the evening, I'm still riding. I'm on like 170k at the moment. There's just been absolutely nothing for such a long time, but I'm feeling super positive, which is kind of funny. I stopped, I had a nice little pasta by the side of the road, cooked with some river water, and I'm just completely alone. I haven't seen a car in like an hour, and I'm feeling really positive. And it's so funny, I kind of go from I ride these waves of like where every kilometer feels like 10, and now I'm just kind of cruising along, just really loving it. And I guess this is why I'm on the trip, for these moments of absolute peace and I guess development. I'm putting my mind through some serious cycles, but it's awesome. Never done anything like it. With the weather forecast looking drastically warmer and sunnier, it was time to head north again. I pedalled the last few 100 kilometres to Port Hardy, where I was to catch an 18-hour ferry up to Prince Rupert via the Inside Passage. I've got a big, exciting news story for you guys. The legs are out! The sun is in the sky. It stopped raining after leaving Vancouver, which I was staying in Vancouver for the weather to get better. I took Ali, who I was staying with, on a cycle, and it was so cold and so miserable. And literally, as we arrived in Tofino, the weather just improved so much, and now it's absolutely glorious out. I had a dip in the river last night, and I'm just cycling towards my ferry, which I'm catching tomorrow. Just climbing a hill in the lovely sunshine, super empty, barely any cars about. Loads of kilometers between towns, now wild camping. It's really, really fun. But I have a feeling that once I cross with the ferry, the temperature's going to drop, and I'm just going to hog kind of just above freezing for the next month or so. But it's kind of the final straight. Just have to cycle across BC, then Yukon, then up the Dalton Highway to the north coast, and try and not get eaten by bears along the way. My first experience with a bear, I had my headphones in, I was singing along to Dave, and I just really wasn't concentrating. I nearly hit the thing. Absolutely bricked myself. It was a black bear, so he ran away really quickly, but I nearly went head over heels over a black bear. So I think that's not the first time that's going to happen, to be honest. I think I'm going to have to keep my eyes a bit more peeled now. Woo! Adrenaline pumping. The ferry ride was an incredible journey, and I couldn't take my eyes off the view the whole way. I also bumped into a French cycle tourist with an English name called Jeff, who was planning to cycle across Canada over the next few months. We managed to share a few great days on the road together before we parted ways at the turn-off to the Cassiar highway.
I'm in the supermarket. I don't want to buy it, you know. It's so expensive.
Ah, la danseuse! I've just said goodbye to Jeff, which is very sad. We had a really nice time cycling together. We went and spoke to some children this morning in Terrace about our trip, but it is goodbye for now. And I'm on to the Cassiar highway. Be very apprehensive about this section. There's lots of bears and some really poor grocery shops. It's kind of petrol station, resupply. So it's going to be a really tough week or so. I've got over 1,000 kilometers to Whitehorse, which is kind of the next bit of civilization, and between that it's just small First Nations settlements and petrol stations. There's gonna be lots of wild camping and lots of bears, I think. So this is when it gets serious, and and the bike is being a bit dodgy, so I'm really hoping it doesn't get worse and just stays the same, because there's really not much I can do about it. I'm really in the middle of nowhere here. Probably one car every 5 minutes or so. Really, really remote, and it's only going to get more and more remote. The Cassiar Highway is a 900-kilometre stretch of remote road weaving through scenic forest and mountains. There is not much infrastructure along the way, with poorly stocked petrol station food and the odd grocery store. At this time of year especially, the few shops that do exist are not all open. This meant that I had to plan my meals and food in advance, and meant that I had to carry extra weight in tortillas and beans. Just been told there's a grizzly up ahead. Someone's gone to check. Maybe clear the path for me. But we'll see. Pretty wild. The guy that stopped me to warn me, he flagged down a truck for me, a big lorry, and somehow persuaded him to put my bike in for a few kilometres. And yeah, we drove past that, and there was an angry grizzly, huffing and puffing, pounded its feet right on the side of the road. We honked the lorry horn, he didn't budge, so I'm super glad I came around the corner. That could have been fucking scary. I mean, it was scary in the lorry. So we play on, and hopefully there are other members of the public who are as kind as this guy. Because yeah, if I suddenly ran into that, not good stuff. On my first day on the Cassiar Highway, I saw loads of bears, and this made me what locals called bear-annoyed. I thought every day I would have to navigate aggressive grizzly bears all the way to Alaska, and this would have added an extra exhausting element to the trip. Luckily, these bear sightings became fewer and fewer until now I am not seeing any at all. I was feeling a bit negative and down yesterday. Had a series of long days and I was getting scared of grizzlies, and I think I was just pretty exhausted. But today I'm having a lovely day. Stopped off at Bell 2 for a wrap and a coffee. It's probably the coffee talking. Some guys just stopped and gave me some M&Ms. Yeah, and it's so beautiful. An elk just jumped out at me, and I've never seen one before, and it absolute monster. So big, so beautiful, so elegant. There's nothing quite like it. Haven't been on the internet for days. It's just beautiful, really. I've seen lots of other wildlife on the road, but because I don't have Google, I quite often don't know what I'm seeing. I kept seeing what I now know are porcupines, but at the time, I had no idea what they were. I also, at one point, thought I saw some wolves that on closer inspection turned out to be some free-roam huskies, presumably owned by a local hermit. I just snuck in to this campsite that I didn't realise was shut, but they had a big old tree across the entrance. But look at this frozen lake. Wow, absolutely sick. I don't think I'm going to go for a dip in that. However much I need a shower, I don't think it's going to be worth it. But it's stunning. At the end of the Cassiar highway coming into Yukon, the frequency of shops hasn't increased that much, and I still have had to carry a few days of food at a time to arrive at Whitehorse, where I am now. The road north will be more of the same, and I am looking forward to crossing the border into Alaska next week, my final border crossing of the trip. I have about 1,000 kilometres to Fairbanks, and then another 800 kilometres to Prudhoe Bay, my final destination.